On the cloud. Here we go. All right. So I'm closing my eyes and placing my hands in my heart. Taking a nice deep breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this time to come together to be the two or more who are gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to laugh at ourselves. Grateful for our creativity. Grateful to know that we are open-hearted, open-minded, and willing to shine the light on any and all blocks to love, to allow them to dissolve and resolve back to the root source in all dimensions of time and space. We declare that we're having a healing right here and right now, and we're grateful for all of our earthly and heavenly helpers. We ask them to bless us, to support us, all those who are here, all those who may listen later. And we're grateful for our willingness to share the benefits of this call today, of our lives of love with everyone, because we're one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. So we do have some new folks joining us. So Ted has joined us this week for the first time. And of course, my friend Susan that joined us last week for the first time. Marianne, it's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. This is my romper room part. So we're doing the introduction from chapter 22. As I was telling Linda earlier, we could have done the first section as well, but the first section is a little bit on the longer side, and I just wanted to give it its own time. So I'm going to start us with sharing in paragraph 2, the first few sentences where he says, "Who has need for sin? Only the lonely and alone, who see their brothers different from themselves. It is this difference, seen but not real, that makes the need for sin not real but seen, seem justified. And all this would be real if sin were so. For an unholy relationship is based on differences, where each one thinks the other has what he has not." And again, we're back to our only problem is that we think we're separate from God. It's not true. So that makes me happy. So we have no need for sin. We have no need for sin, and I'm grateful for that. So that's where I just was led to start us with today. Who else would like to share what they got from our reading this week? Feel free just to unmute yourself and speak up, or you can raise your hand. I think move the raise hand button to the section that says reactions.
I'll start.
Thanks, Linda.
I read it midday yesterday, so I can't really recall, but just looking at this first paragraph, my goodness, take pity on yourself, so long enslaved. Don't we know about that? Rejoice whom God hath joined, have come together, and need no longer look on sin apart. There we are with the separation. No two can look on sin together, for they could never see it in the same place and time. Sin is a strictly individual perception, seen in the other, yet believed by each to be within himself. Just keeping that separation alive. And each one seems to make a different error. In one, the other cannot understand. Brother, it is the same, made by the same, and forgiven for its maker in the same way, because we are one. There is no other. The holiness of your relationships forgives you and your brother, undoing the effects of what you both believed and saw. And with their going is the need for sin gone with them. You know, it's just so unique to the Course to understand, I forgive you for what you didn't do, because you are me. And error can occur, but sin is not real. I think I need a miracle. I think I'll have one. Oh, how simple is salvation, you know? So this is a powerful read, little read, but powerful. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. It is. It's simple, and yet we make it so complicated. And I was having this conversation with a friend who was talking about apathy, how she's been feeling apathetic. And I said to her, you know, I feel that way sometimes too, but I'm really interested in looking at it in a different way. That really what it is that sometimes the clouds cover the sun. And that doesn't mean that the sun is no longer there, but the clouds can make it feel like it's no longer there. And there's this part of me that I call the drama queen. And as soon as the clouds come, she's like, oh my God, the sky is falling. The sun's been blotted out from the sky for all of eternity. And I laugh at her now because I can recognize where I used to allow that to just be like, oh my gosh, if I'm feeling this way, that means depression is coming. And if depression is coming, that means it's going to be weeks or months that I'm going to feel this way. And everything is going to have this haze of grayness over it. And then I'm going to have to go to the doctor, and then I have to go back on medication. And, like it just takes you down that crazy path. And now I'm like, okay, I'm having a gray day. No big deal. It'll pass. It'll pass. It doesn't mean that it feels good, but it's still, I have the knowing that it's not forever. And that makes all the difference. Linda, go ahead. Did you have something else to share?
Yeah, back to the I forgive you for what you did not do thought. I think one of the most precious and powerful sentences in this entire piece of this spiritual text is a 4-word sentence, and it is not so. Can that be any more simple? And I love it. It's like a mantra in my, when I feel that seduction, that temptation to pick up chunks of unforgiveness or grievance, or it is not so. So that's all.
Yeah, thank you. Carol.
There's a sentence I think that really is helpful in paragraph 3. He sees no difference between these selves, for differences are only of the body. We can't, we are so trained to think of each other as bodies, as physical, and that's duality, and we're working toward oneness, not duality, not good and bad, good and evil, up and down, even, right, wrong. We are retraining ourselves. And so we really need to understand all the time, or make it a mantra. I am not my body. My husband is not his body. My friend is not her body. We are not our bodies. And so we really need to switch that track in our brain that has been so, programmed in for so very long. We're not bodies. We deal with our bodies, but we are not that. And that's not me. So everything Linda just read, everything both Lindas just read, is because we think we're bodies. So we're believing a lie from the get-go, if that's how we see ourselves and see different, because I have white hair, you've got brown hair. You know what I mean? That's how we've been programmed to think. But we're not bodies. And so if we can just remind ourselves, I don't know, put it on your refrigerator or something, because that's the crux, I think. That sentence just says it all. We're not bodies. And that's what makes us think we're different. And that's part of the undoing, is it not, that this course teaches? So I just thought it was a very powerful sentence. Thanks.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah, and it reminds me again what Linda just said. It is not so. It is not so. And another thing that popped into my head when you were sharing that, Carol, was that is, for me, it kind of is explaining like the ego's desire to commiserate with people that are complaining, because it's sorry excuse or commitment to oneness in the wrong sense. You know, I'm one with you because I feel the same way you do, and I'm miserable and you're miserable, and let's be miserable together, and let's talk about how miserable we are. You know, all that complaining, and I'm like, no, I don't want to, you know, it's not that I don't want to hear what my brothers and sisters have to say when they're complaining, but I'm really interested in seeing it differently and not claiming that it is so. You know, just, okay, I'm having a moment. I can have a moment. I can have as many moments as I want until I decide I'm not going to have that moment anymore. And then I can have a different moment. And I would like you to come with me in the moment where we're not miserable. And I'm not judging you if you would like to remain in the misery, because I've been there too. Let's sit in that mud puddle for a while together. You know? But it's a sad substitution for oneness. Commiseration. Suzanne.
Yes, thank you. Just what you're saying there, Linda. My husband and I have a little saying that we actually picked up from Abraham Hicks, I don't know how many years ago. We talk to his mother every day, and she's in her late 80s, and she's been stuck in her apartment forever. And we think it's really getting to her, even though we talk to her every day, and her daughters are being fabulous. And but she wants to play the Ain't It Awful game. And that's what we just acknowledge, that an Ain't It Awful game is going on, and we refuse to play Ain't It Awful. But it is hard when someone's going down that road, because they really do want you to join them. And that's when you have to remember that you have to keep a handle on yourself, that you don't want to go there, because it is easy. And our egos would love to take us there, right? Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say was, there's that word same again. Paragraph 1, line 6, brother, it is the same, made by the same, and forgiven for its maker in the same way. And we talked a lot about the word same last week. And that's a really great reminder all the time. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Suzanne. Yep, we are the same. We are the same. Go ahead, Carla.
Well, I didn't even get a chance to really fully read this, but I started, and it said, take pity on yourself, so long enslaved. And I like to, I share my experiences because that's where my learning is. So I was going to go to Costco this morning at like 7 o'clock, and I was already in, my keys are missing. They're not anywhere in the place. I think I might have dropped them in the downstairs in the mail room, and they weren't down there. So my normal reaction was to get tense and get upset, like, oh man, I should know better, you know. And that's when this can take pity on yourself, and that's really love yourself, you know, in this experience. You know, I don't know how it's gonna unfold. And so I sat and just went over wellness statements in my head. I'm willing to be gentle with myself. I'm willing to allow my learning to unfold how it does. I'm willing to react differently to experiences. I'm willing to notice how I'm reacting. I'm willing to be present, and it's actually I'm judging. I'm noticing I'm judging, because what is judgment? It's comparing what's happening in the present to something, and it's probably more listening to go, what other stuff, but I don't know. My mind wants to tell me, oh, you lost. You got to go to them and get to pay for new car keys, and you have to pay for new house keys, and all this stuff. And the truth is, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the next second. I just don't know. I don't know. How can I know what anything is for, let alone if I don't know what it is, right? And I don't know what it is. So it's not that I take pity on myself. It doesn't seem, I think it's really love yourself. So long enslaved, so long I've been enslaved to believing something other than love, believing the untruth, because there's no other truth except for love. But so I didn't get to read the whole thing, but I did see it's a lot about holy relationship. That is where I'm starting with myself. I'm having a holy relationship from the higher self to the human self, right? That is the holy relationship I'm interested in focusing on. And when I do that, well, that wins. Sounds like a judgment too. It's like in the future, but then I see everyone like that. But because if we do, it's like they said, if you do one lesson in the course, you do them all. But if you love one fully, myself, I can love them all. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Carla. Ted, would you like to share? You were just giving Carla props. Oh, let me see if I can help you unmute. There, oh, try again. We did it at the same time.
Okay,
Sorry
I'm
about
technically challenged, so you have to
okay.
bear with me. You know, I try. No, thanks for sharing that. You know that I listen to Linda and Carla and everyone. I am so glad that, you know, I've got a chance to join you today. I want to get that out front because for years I've I've looked at the course, read the course, not just years, decades. And I was involved in hospice, in bereavement ministry. And I never had, since I've retired, I don't have a circle. I don't have the connection. So an opportunity just to have a time once a week, it's going to be great. So I will add one little thing. I have a song I wrote that's called Stand. And there's a line in the third paragraph that I actually got up this morning and I'm rewriting my bridge in this song to include this line that, and it goes that just under heaven does he stand, but close enough not to return to earth. And I really think that it fits in this particular song. So close to heaven, it is my I am. I'll not return to the land of man, just so it rhymes. And so, yeah, so I'm trying to rewrite decades of songwriting to include, the influence that the course has had on me. So that's my sharing.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I'm so
I
glad
don't know.
you can join
This,
us.
this is so new to me. I don't know how to react, but I just see that you just get done, be quiet. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm going to do.
Okay. So cool. Who else would like to share? Go ahead, Robyn.
Well, that first sentence really did come towards all of us. And I remember, take pity on yourself, so long enslaved. And in that moment, I was just like really absorbing the words. And pity was not quite, I mean, I took it on. I'm like, yes, let's get into the pity part here. And I felt it deeply. But then as just like Carla, she changed it to love. It's like in thinking about heartbreaking stories that we hear every day. Not that I sit and dwell with listening to all of that, but it certainly comes. And I'm more and more using those opportunities to bless whatever and to bring compassion. And so I would like to take compassion on myself, so long enslaved. And I really, it feels like a long time. So I'm keeping that part. But yeah, such powerful words. And like Suzanne, I didn't notice it saying until the last paragraph. So two things in paragraph 5, the word beyond and saying really popped out. And the beyond part is my experience of desiring to go beyond the appearances of what is in front of me. And so that word is another word that's coming forth to help me. Another way to say it is to rise above the battlefield or to rise above your circumstances. And that beyond fits in so well to look towards the light and the Christ or the oneness with each other. So I'm kind of putting little blocks around the words that are helping to be my gate openers. And so there's beyond, and then saying is this idea that there are no differences, and to see differently is to have that divine vision. And I think the sameness is where that divine vision even thinking differently about seeing. And that for me, divine vision makes it more holy or something, or coming from spirit instead of ego. So that's my what I received from this reading today. And I also, when it talks about reason, or it talks about, well, I'm starting to get scattered, but I love putting reality in where it says reason, and I imagine they're both the same. I'm just more familiar with reality. And that is, as we look beyond and see the sameness, we can extend ourselves, we can extend that love towards ourselves and that reality to others. So that's exciting to think about and dream about and hope about. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Robyn. Yeah, I had kind of a same reaction to the word pity. I had to sit with that one for a while, and I wanted to use compassion. Linda.
I hope I'm not hogging the time. Sorry, Pam. I just was moved to, as we were in this little section that Robyn brought up my attention to. And now this, starts with, and now the sameness that you saw extends. No, let's go back even a little more. It must reach out beyond itself as you reached out beyond the body to let you and your brother be joined. And now the sameness that you saw extends and finally removes all sense of differences, so that the sameness that lies beneath them all becomes apparent. I don't know if anybody's listened to a lot of Marianne Williamson or gone to hear her, present and talk. She always starts her sessions with, and in the center of her mind, there's a little ball of golden light, and she takes you through this thing where all of heaven envelops the seeming difference into the sameness, and we all melt into one, right? So this paragraph was really feeling like that when I was reading it. And so the sameness that lies beneath them all becomes apparent. Here's the golden circle where you recognize the Son of God. For what is born into a holy relationship can never end. So it kind of reminded me of her little intro into most of her things that she does, except running for president. That wouldn't have flown. Thanks.
Thanks, Linda. Yeah, I love that too. The golden circle. I feel like we are all part of a golden circle, and as we expand the people that are within the circle that we're enveloping in this circle, we're enveloping them in this love, this compassion, this desire for oneness and recognition of the Christ light in every brother and sister, whether they're here or not, whether they're studying A Course in Miracles or not, whatever philosophies, religions, beliefs that they have. If we are willing to do our own work and see ourselves as a part of this golden circle, then we're a force for good in all the world. And that's, who could ask for much more than that? Suzanne.
Oh, thank you so much for that. The golden circle, it makes me think of, I had a lovely experience yesterday. I'm a member of the Transcendental Meditation Canada, and they've been having guest speakers. And yesterday they had a professor who looked like he was about 80. And when he told his story, and I'll just make this brief, but he told his story when he was a young man in university, he had revelation, and he wasn't studying anything. He didn't know anything about meditation or anything. It was a total surprise to him, and he didn't know if anyone else had ever experienced this. And so he made some changes in what he was studying at university and has dedicated his life to studying people who have had the experience. And the presentation yesterday, he goes way back in history, all different cultures. The presentation yesterday was about black elk. And some of you may be familiar with the book Black Elk Speaks. I have the book The Sacred Pipe here. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is we're talking about this golden circle. Black Elk was born in 1863, and he had his first revelation, his first sacred experience, as he called it, at the age of 9. And he saw, and it's all in very simple language. He presented it in simple language, not in the elaborate, undifferentiated wholeness kind of way we would speak now. And he talked about everything being in light, and that he went through a rainbow door, and that he stood on the tallest mountain. Now, this professor started crying halfway through the presentation, and he cried for the rest of the way. And it was a very moving story. And then he apologized for crying. We were all saying, there were 70 of us there, and we're all going, no, it's really beautiful. But it's bringing tears to my eyes now. That Black Elk, in that first revelation when he was 9 years old, that he said he stood on the tallest mountain and he saw the hoop of the world. And he describes the hoop of the world, and there's that golden circle. And it was so beautiful to hear this experience of this one person who lived so long ago. And what you're just saying now, it doesn't matter whether you're studying ACIM, it doesn't, it's so universal. And that's what this professor has dedicated his life to. He's writing books now that are being published, and there are 10 volumes. And he has just finished volume 3, which is called The Enlightened Jesus. And of course, I want to read this. I want to read all his books. And I'll probably cry my way through them, because it was so beautiful seeing this old man, and not even like just going like this while he was talking to us in his presentation. So there we go, the light. And Black Elk said that he saw that all the people were happy, and that there was that they had the same, their spirit shapes were the same. That was how he said it, I think, that spirit shapes were the same. So he had the same experience as we're reading here in ACIM this many years later. So I really wanted to share that with you, because it was really I thought about it for the rest of the afternoon. It was just lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. That's so beautiful. And I really do feel that. It's like the means to get there may be different, but we're really all heading towards the same thing. And our goal is the same. Like, it's love. It's love. And it doesn't matter how you get there. It really doesn't matter how you get there. And when I hear of people that are doing hateful things towards others, other races, religions, ethnicities, whatever, I just want to say, can't you see that they're all love? They're just afraid. They're just afraid. The people that are doing the hateful things are afraid because they can't see that. So again, I feel that it's another reason why it's so important for us to get together and have these conversations where we can talk about, what's in our hearts, and bringing it out into the world through demonstration, not through lecture or, you know, trying to convince somebody that the way that we're doing it is the right way. But just by demonstration, just by being that demonstration of love to others, even if they don't seem like they're lovable, because those are the ones that are needing it the most. I know when I've been my prickliest, that's what I've needed the most, is somebody just to love me, just the way that I was in that moment, and not try to change me and not try to make it wrong. And I'm learning how to do that for myself. And as I learn how to do that for myself, to have that compassion, that pity, that that I can extend it. Yeah. I guess that's the end of that thought. Because it just kind of trailed off. Woo. Who else would like to share today? And Deborah, I don't know if I muted you or if you're muted, you can *9 to unmute from your phone, honey, if you would like to talk. It's good to have you here.
No, Linda, I muted myself.
Oh, okay. Thank you, my friend. Go ahead, Carla.
So this line, just as the eyes were just drawing this line. A holy relationship starts from a different, this is paragraph 3, first line. A holy relationship starts from a different premise. Each one has looked within and seen no lack. I'm willing to live from the wholeness I am. That lack means there's something that should be there, or something's gone, and it's not true. I recognize this life as just one long opportunity to practice, to choose truth as opposed to delusion. So I'm willing. I think I've shared this before, that the dream I had where it said, your healing is only limited by your willingness, so grow your willingness until you're fully healed. I get so many opportunities. I'm so grateful that no matter what I chose, 5 minutes ago, a decade ago, whatever it is, a second ago, I can choose again. And I can choose from my loving heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Who else would like to share?
Thank you, everyone. And I have not had a chance to read the chapter, so I have not read it. But one thing that stood out for me as Carla was talking about was in paragraph 4, think what a holy relationship can teach. Here is belief in differences undone. And I think what earlier Linda was talking about, Linda Soto was talking about um, compassion or unconditional love. And for me, that is what this sentence spoke about. Think of what a holy relationship can teach. And that is the holy relationship. And, because I was looking at on the paragraph 1, number 3, no two can look on sin together, for they could never see it in the same place and time. And that is that even about the perception is even about the sin is individual perception. And I thought, when I lack that unconditional love, I am or not in that place of compassion, I'm able to see the sin in another, even though they don't see it, and we two of us don't see it in the same place and time, because it's basically the perception that I made, which meant for me that I moved out of compassion and focusing on the lack, what is not there, just because I am caught up in my little self. And the holiness part of it, I'm losing out because the little self is focusing on little things rather than the vision. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, and as we're talking about this too, I'm starting to realize I just over the weekend purchased a mirror from somebody on Facebook that I have right here in the same space that I do my yoga and dance practices. And what I'm realizing is that mirror is going to allow me to take a good, long, hard look at myself and take pity on myself and learn what that holy relationship with myself can teach. Because I've been through some stuff, as we all have. But, I'm now allowing myself to have a few moments to really reflect on everything that has happened over the past 5 or 10 years and what this human existence has endured and rose above, and appreciate it for that. Uh, it's not always, but it's always helpful. And I've really come to believe that. So now I'm really realizing that is the reason why I purchased this mirror. I mean, I thought it was so that I could watch my dance and yoga form and see if I was doing it right. And now I'm realizing, no, it's really to take a good, hard look at myself and appreciate every square inch, every curve, every bulge, every line, just to really appreciate that I have been able to walk through this and come out on the other side feeling the way that I do in my heart. It's kind of a miracle. So that's what it's for. That's what I'm claiming it's for. Go ahead, Carla.
As I muted myself. So I was a memory came to me while you're talking, is that I was looking at my arm, my bare arm the other day, and I saw an age spot, right? And I saw how the skin, it's not as firm as it used to be, and it's starting to get saggy, and the whole I don't know what's the word, the whole skin is kind of has more little teeny weeny, you can see all the pores, and I'm like, and at first I was like, oh, I noticed that, and I'm like, no, that's not how I'm interested in responding to myself. How beautiful you are. I just started talking to myself like, how beautiful you are. And like instead of just being, smooth, and you have contour and variety and personality, and like, wow, it's so amazing. And I'm like, where did that come from in a way? But that was the ego speaking. Really, what? Who's that? And but that just, when you talked about the mirror, I didn't even have mirrors except I think there's one in the bathroom. But yeah, just taking a good. It's not deciding not to look at yourself with anything, but whatever you call it, love is many things. Love is kindness, compassion, understanding, forgiveness, faith, whatever it is. Just that, use that. I'm interested in having that be the motivation of every experience that I have. Yeah. So I enjoy speaking here because sometimes I don't know what's going to come out, but I find it's very, where the two or more is gathered, and it's very, I can say it to myself, but it's really feels more powerful to share it, because Zoom is going out, and it's like sharing it, even though not everybody's here and everybody receives it, it's going, it doesn't pick and choose where it goes. It just goes. And so I love the opportunity to just do that. Thank you.
Just putting those frequencies out there, Carla. Good stuff. Thank you. Who else would like to share anything? Go ahead, Robyn.
Well, just quickly, I would like for us to leave with the sentence because I love the words, and it's on paragraph 3, sentence 7, and Ted started that, and someone else was bringing it up as well. So, just under heaven does he stand, but close enough not to return to earth. I love that image. For this relationship has heaven's holiness. How far from home can a relationship so like to heaven be? And just putting heaven's holiness together just sounds like a lovely tool to put in my pocket.
Holy ground. We're standing on holy ground. Yeah. Anybody else like to share before we ready to close out? We've got about 8 minutes left. Go ahead, Amanda.
I just want to read again the beginning of paragraph 4 because it's just so good for us to kind of, I feel, close out on. But I just love what it says. Think what a holy relationship can teach. Here is belief in differences undone. I love that. Here is belief in differences undone. Here is the faith in differences shifted to sameness. I love that. And here is sight of differences transformed to vision. Ah, sounds like such a relief. I don't have much else to say about it that hasn't been said already, but I just wanted to close out on that just because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Yep. Holy ground. The holy ground is right here in our hearts, in the gathering space that we are in. And it's holy ground. All right. Well, it was a short read, so that that's probably why we're not quite as chatty as usual. But so next week we are going to read section 1, which is the message of the holy relationship. And that's a little bit longer than this one. And we've got 2, 4, oh no, just 2, about 3 pages in my old book here. So I'm going to close this out with reading my Pathways of Light Insights for lesson 89, which is a review of the lessons I am entitled to miracles and let miracles replace all grievances. Being willing to unite my will with the Holy Spirit's is what gives me a transformed perception or a miracle. This takes my willingness to let go of grievances. This takes my willingness to let go of the belief in separate identities. It is my holding on to this belief that gives me the experience of separate identities. I am entitled to a healed mind because my real mind is one with the mind of God. It is helpful for me to recognize that I am out of my mind when I perceive separate identities. This gives me the humanity to have an open mind and step back and let myself be taught a new perception. This prayer helps me with this. I open my mind to healing light. Holy Spirit, right now my mind is sick. It is perceiving separation. This does not bring me happiness. I am willing to see differently. I am willing to let go of my preconceived ideas. I then imagine the Holy Spirit bringing healing light into my confused mind because ideas do not leave their source. The world I think I'm in is immersed in light. This is the same as saying my projections are immersed in light. I remember that the whole world that seems outside of me was made up to project the guilt for wanting separation from God's oneness. I remember that the whole world of separate bodies is an illusion coming from the ego split mind. Do I want to continue identifying with this illusion of separation? Do I want to continue playing the ego game of projecting the guilt in my mind onto a perceived world outside of me? I now see that when I think that separation is real, no matter what form it takes, I am joining with the ego thought system. I remember that the ego has one vocation, to project guilt and hold grievances. This puts me in hell. This is the barrier that holds the truth that only God's laws are real from my awareness. This is what I am using to replace God's all-encompassing love. This recognition helps me loosen my grip on wanting to continue seeing separation. As I let the Holy Spirit replace these thoughts, of being different from my brothers, I feel comforted. I recognize insane thinking for what it is. I let the stories I have been accepting as real be dissolved in love's healing light. The light has come. I let miracles replace all grievances. I let holiness expand to include everyone. I am entitled to miracles. I recently heard news about what is happening in Iraq. It said that some villagers were trying to run from the village to go to the coalition forces for safety. Some of their fellow citizens shot at them in an attempt to prevent their running away. The first thought that came to me was that this represented a mindset that if you won't be my friend, I'll kill you. I asked the Holy Spirit for further insight. I saw that this is the same as the mindset that holds expectations for a friend or a partner and judges the person for not living up to the expectations. In both situations, there must be an underlying belief that separation is real in order for the judgment or killing to seem like a possible option. So whenever I judge anyone, I do the same thing as shooting someone in the back. They are both forms of expressing grievances. The only difference is in the appearance of the form of acting out of the grievance. But since form is an illusion, there is in truth no difference. The problem in both cases is believing separation is real, which is the mother of all grievances. For miracles to replace all grievances, I must be willing to accept and extend love and let go of all belief in separation. Picture an alternate scenario. I see someone appearing to run in fear. I see that person as part of me, pure light and innocence. Love flows through me and embraces that person, and I see that we are one. Fear is unreal. Only love matters. There is nothing to run from. Only love, be accepted. As the love flows through me, I feel its blessing. And as I offer it to others, I am in deep gratitude. This, in essence, is how miracles replace grievances. Were we all to remember this in every moment, peace would reign, for all grievances would be replaced by miracles. I can hold that vision both for the one in Iraq who believes he must shoot someone who is running away, and for the one who appears to be running away. I can hold this thought for the coalition forces who believe they must kill in order to save. And I can hold this thought for myself whenever I have any perception of harm or loss or any temptation to judge. Love is always the answer to every grievance, to every perception of separation. I am willing to let miracles replace all grievances. All righty. Well, thank you everyone for joining today, and I will see you next week. For those who celebrate, have a happy Easter on Sunday, and I'll see you on Tuesday after.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye for
everyone.
now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You. Lots